So it looks like we're all getting ready to adjust to the new normal. And there are a lot of positives with that, but there are also some things we need to acknowledge. And one of those things are our essential workers because their pandemic pay and a lot of the pay bonuses they've experienced are going to go away. We're already seeing that with Loblaws, apparently, and a lot of the other grocery store companies, which is crazy because they are very profitable right now, even during all this. And meanwhile, their essential workers and all workers are going to have to wear a mask now. So, do things really feel normal to them? Any more normal than it did 2 weeks ago when they were still getting paid $2 more an hour? Obviously, there's being out there is still a danger to their health. We just think we've just flattened the curve, obviously. So that gives us some more benefits. But the disease is still out there, and these guys deserve to be taken care of. And that's what I want to get into today, is essentially what essential worker actually means. Because I think it actually means people that were essentially made to work during a pandemic, not people whose work was essential to get us through a pandemic. Because that would mean we actually valued the work as such. And we definitely did not, and we still aren't. And the fact that we're trying to take away their pay now, or we're just sitting by and letting it happen, is pretty ridiculous. I mean, it's pretty gross. And honestly, if you're more upset about having to wear a mask than you are about that, it's pretty friggin' telling. Because the essential workers have taken care of us and the people we love. And with that, we need to acknowledge how the government, and really all of us, have kind of failed them. We've let them down. And we need to take responsibility for that one. Because we're taking advantage of a vulnerable group here. And Dufferin Spotlight and Dufferin News make sure we highlight those things. We don't like vulnerable groups being taken advantage of. It's just fundamentally wrong. It's not right. And a business should not be built on that. It's pretty gross. And it doesn't really make you a good business person. But it allows jobs that shouldn't exist to exist. And it also allows jobs that need to exist to be underpaid. Meanwhile, jobs that don't need to exist are overpaid. And that's just, again, wrong. Again, especially when these people are putting themselves in danger. More danger than you or I. Or a lot of the people that watch Duffer News. So it doesn't make sense for us to take away that pay. I don't really agree that it's ever right to take away that pay from them. I think they're an undervalued role in society, no doubt. And COVID has exposed that 100%. So, I mean, we should, again, acknowledge the service that these guys do for us in the past, during that crisis, and in the future. Because, again, we're not out of the woods on this one yet. These guys have to wear masks more than anybody, especially these grocery store workers and these healthcare workers that are going to have their pay cut back. Again, that's not right. Everything's not back to normal yet, and their pay shouldn't be made to reflect as such. So, I mean, we need to take care of them just like they took care of us. I mean, there are Republicans in the United States that are proposing $12 an hour Patriot Pay or hazard pay to their essential workers, including the ones working at grocery stores. Meanwhile, here in Canada, we are mostly passing on the benefits to the corporations, with most of our essential workers not getting any of that benefit themselves. I mean, $2 an hour raise is not really much, especially when you're trying to balance not making more than $1,000 possibly, in order to be eligible for CERB, which I'll get into later. But here in Canada, with the wage subsidies, it only really amounts to the corporations getting the benefits. And I mean, I'm all for the wage subsidy when it comes to small businesses and even medium businesses. But when you're a big corporation that's on the stock market and you're paying out dividends or doing stock buybacks, and you will soon after this, or you're paying out bonuses, or you're not paying taxes, and you haven't been paying taxes, I really have a hard time justifying giving them a wage subsidy, because they're going to keep operating no matter what, and they're doing fine. Because for these big corporations, it's not that hard for them to manufacture a 30% revenue decline while still maintaining good profitability, especially enough to give out their shareholders dividends if they need to. So, some of them are suspending anyways, but many of the ones that I know are still giving out dividends that are getting government assistance during all this, which again doesn't make any sense to me when essential workers are getting very little. Again, and trying to balance that with making $1,000 a month in order to be eligible for CERB, possibly. And possibly if they go over, they might have to face fines or go to jail because of the Liberals trying to propose some kind of fraud prevention thing with CERB, which is ridiculous. I mean, again, go and fix your tax system and go after your friends and future employers possibly instead of taking advantage of vulnerable people just to play politics. And here's the thing. When you and I get money, we generally spend it and we generally get taxed on it. And it goes back into the economy, whether it's local or anywhere, but it actually goes back into the economy. And when you get a little bit extra money, you generally save it, but you're advised to invest it too. And what you usually do is invest in mutual funds or index funds, which are not the best things out there. Like they inflate the stock market, especially big corporations, high market cap corporations. So they benefit from it anyways. So they're not going to complain. But when rich people get it, they are able to sit on it. And they're able to sit on it for a long time, and it doesn't go back into the economy. A lot of them park it overseas where it doesn't get taxed. And that doesn't help the economy at all. So anyways, and you lump that in with the rich people who sit on their wealth for generations in order for their families not to have to work. I mean, that's a small number of them, but they are out there. And then you have the ones that just invest in the stock market themselves, and they get all the advantages of times like these when regular people are going through the ringer and they're capitalizing on the gains in the stock market. I mean, they're record highs, record lows too, but if you play the stock market smart enough, and if you're rich, you have the money to be able to hire people to do that, then you're making lots of money right now. I mean, there is tons of money to be made in the stock market right now if you know what you're doing. If you know what you're not doing, all you're doing is contributing to rich people getting richer. So you should stay out of it. Or hire someone that actually knows what they're doing. But again, index funds and market funds are a good thing, but again, they benefit rich people as well. So, but again, if you're going to invest, that's probably the best thing to do anyways. Diversification is always key, but I'm not here to talk about that. And I could get into the small businesses and how they haven't been taken care of by this either, how they've been taken advantage of, especially with that rent subsidy. I mean, again, that's a huge joke. And it says a lot that they prioritize that very little while trying to go after people that have quote unquote defrauded CERB. I mean, again, there's many small business owners that are going to be put in the position where they're going to feel forced to take on CERB, again, either to make rent or whatever they need to do, because the government's failed in assisting them to the degree that they need to, or the degree that they're pretending that they have. But anyways, again, I'm sticking with essential workers here. I could go on for days about how small businesses haven't been affected or haven't been helped. Sorry, they've been majorly affected. Anyways, I'm not going to go on for too long, longer. But just to wrap it up, I think we need to just reevaluate how we're appreciating our essential workers, especially after all they've done for us. We should reevaluate how we value them in the future. And even now, because again, we're not out of the pandemic situation yet. Again, we're all wearing masks. So we're not out of the woods. And we need to be more honest about our leadership. I mean, it feels great to feel like we have somebody in charge that's taking care of us and know what we're doing. But that doesn't change the reality. There are so many people that have been left on the wayside on this one.